If you have ever felt stuck in patterns that don't serve you, or wondered why breaking certain habits feels impossible, this message is going to unlock something in your spirit, and I'm so excited. Hello, friend. Welcome to the Devotional Diaries, where we don't just read the Word, we let the Word read us. I'm Kaylani, and this is where faith meets the work. So today's verse that we are going to get into is one of my favorite verses, and it is Romans 12:2. As a clinical hypnotherapist and as a woman that loves God, this is the basis and the root of what all my work is based on. So I'm really excited to deep dive into this one and to help us just reach new heights. So grab your journal, get comfy, and let's break it down together. Okay, so we are going to read Romans 12:2 together. Do not be conformed by this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is the good, pleasing, and perfect will of God. So good. Now, Paul wrote this in a letter to the Romans, giving instructions on how to be believers of Christ while living in a pagan world, pagan culture. It was chaos. Chaos was happening amidst the people. What's beautiful here is that this isn't just advice. This is a blueprint for how our minds actually work. I'm a words girl, and breaking down words is probably my favorite thing about studying the Bible. So let's break down some of these keywords. So the first word that we're going to break down is conform. The origin of the word conform is Latin, and it means to shape or fashion something to match another thing. The way that I like to see it is it's kind of like putting clay and molding it into something. You lose your original shape, you lose your original form, and you are molded to take on the shape of whatever is pressing against you. Another good word that I love here is the word transform. And the Greek word for transformed is metamorpho, which is where we get metamorphosis. Let's really think about a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. It's not becoming something foreign. It's revealing something that was always meant to be. Now, probably my favorite word of this whole verse is the word renewing. And renewing means to restore something, make something like new again, to restore something to a vigorous or flourishing state, to replace with a fresh supply. What I love about all of these definitions is that it's going back to something that was always meant to be. It's not about becoming something new. It's not about getting something you've never had or becoming someone you've never been. It's more about coming back home to who you were always destined to be and what was always rightfully yours. I especially love the definition where it says to restore to a vigorous or flourishing state, because that just lets us know that before the world told us who we were supposed to be, before we were programmed by everything outside of us, we were always vigorous. We were always flourishing. And now it's just time to get back to that space. Okay, so here's where it gets really powerful and where I really feel like biblically, this is explaining to us how our subconscious works. Between birth and the age of 7, our minds are in what neuroscientists call a theta wave state. So during these crucial years, during this theta wave state, we are absorbing everything around us. Our parents' beliefs, our environment's message, society's patterns, our experiences, we are literally being programmed. And we have zero agency on getting to choose what actually goes in. So this is what Paul is talking about when he's talking about conforming to the patterns of the world. We as human beings, we didn't have a choice. We didn't get to choose what was being programmed or what we were conforming to. We didn't choose it consciously. We were shaped by forces around us before we even knew we had a choice. And today, so many of us are walking around with subconscious patterns that aren't even ours. Maybe you absorbed that belief that you had to work twice as hard to be worthy. Maybe you picked up the pattern that love is conditional, or that your voice doesn't matter, or that taking care of yourself is selfish. But these aren't conscious thoughts. They're running in the background, shaping how you show up, what you believe you deserve, and how you respond to opportunities and challenges. But here's the good news that Paul is giving us. Transformation is possible through the renewing of our mind. Notice that he doesn't say, change your mind. He says, renewing. This suggests that buried beneath all of that programming is your original design, your original identity, who God said you were always meant to be. It exists. It is in you. When God calls us to transformation, he's not asking us to become someone new or different. He's calling us back. He's calling us to return home to who he has always created us to be. And this is why some of our deepest healing work is in unlearning the ways that we were programmed, unlearning who life told us to be, releasing beliefs and behaviors that were never meant to be ours in the first place. And just like that early programming happened at a subconscious level, our renewal needs to happen there too. So how do we do that? We get back to a theta state. How do we do that? We allow ourselves to go into hypnosis, where we can reprogram and rewrite our beliefs, our stories, our thoughts. This is why surface level positive thinking isn't always enough. Half the time, it's hardly enough. We need to go deeper through prayer, of course, through meditation, and even again, modalities like hypnotherapy to bring us back to that theta state where this programming happened in the first place. So let's make this practical. I want to give you some tools to begin your renewal process. This is where you're going to grab your journal, your pen, your notebook, whatever you got. Here are some reflection questions. What patterns or beliefs do you find yourself living out that don't feel authentically you? What might have you absorbed from your early environment that's still running the show? And if you stripped away all the shoulds and expectations that were placed on you, what would feel most true to who God created you to be? When we do this work, when we renew our minds, Paul promises something so beautiful. He says that we will be able to test and approve what God's will is. In other words, we're not clouded by the world's programming and judgment. We can clearly hear and discern God's voice over our lives. Another thing to practice is to complete this sentence. Before the world told me who to be, I was ... And allow yourself to dream and envision and go back to who you were and what you loved and what made you happy, what brought you joy, what made you feel peaceful. But reminding yourself who it was you were always meant to be. This week, I challenge you to practice what I call conscious thinking. Before you respond to situations, just pause and ask, is this response coming from my true self, or is it coming from old programming? And allow yourself to start small. Maybe it's choosing to speak up in a meeting when you normally stay quiet, or setting a boundary when you would typically people please. Okay, friend, that's what I have for you today. And again, just remember that this process of spiritual and mental renewal, it's not going to happen overnight. It is a conscious decision every single day, every single moment. But it is yours and it can happen. And the world, the life that you are dreaming of is on the other side of what you believe, what you think, and what you decide to do. But I would love to hear how this verse speaks to you. Drop a comment below and let me know, what is one pattern that you are ready to release? Or one aspect of your true self that you're ready to embrace? And if this bless you, please like, subscribe, share with a friend. I want to do more of this. So let me know what other verses you want us to read so that the verse can read us. And again, we can apply this to our lives and live fruitfully, abundantly, exceptionally, and exceedingly the way God designed it to be. All right, I'll see you next time.